Hi, another beautiful Saturday morning is here. My name is Benedict Owusu. This is Playmakers here on MX24. And of course, from now till the hour of 9, we talk everything sports, from the local scene to the international scene specifically. We'll take a look at what's going to happen this weekend in the major European leagues, the English Premier League. But here on the local scene, Black Stars Kusiki Akono has named this 23-man squad to face Sudan for next month's 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. Also, we'll look at CAF President Ahmad. He's facing a FIFA ban after breaching code of ethics. He was also tested positive for coronavirus. So, double blow for the 60-year-old. Well, we'll also take a look at the UEFA Champions League games that took place on Tuesday and Wednesday, as well as the Europa League matches. And as I made mention earlier, in the English Premier League, Manchester United will be taking on Thomas Partey's Arsenal tomorrow at Old Trafford. We'll look at that as well here. And these and many more coming up in the next hour. The show, as always, is interactive, so get through to us on our WhatsApp line, which is 0592 866001, 0592 8960001. Well, so just go there and place your comments. We are streaming the show live on our Facebook, so you can also go there and place your comments, as well as on Twitter. I'm on Twitter at Kwesi Benedict. You can tweet at me. So we have to start from the continent, and it was all about the CAF president this week. On Wednesday, Ahmad, announced his re-election bid as CAF president. And then the story came that he's been found to have breached various codes of ethics, which was according to the BBC. And, as I made mention, on Wednesday, he announced his candidacy, and then this story also followed. Now, this could now be in doubt after the investigatory chamber of football's world governing body determined that he has breached various codes of conduct. Well, and any ban is likely to roll Mr. Ahmad's quest of becoming or staying as CAF president. Well, let's get more perspective on this. We are privileged to have with us via Zoom BBC Sports Africa, P.S. Edwards. P.S., thanks so much for joining us this morning here on the show, Playmakers on MX24. How did we get here?
How did we get here? We got here because, well, let's wind the clock back to President Ahmad taking charge of African football, obviously, in 2017, as you all know. But it was in 2019, early last year, that Amra Family, the former Secretary General, put in his complaints with FIFA. A few months after, the former Finance Director, Mohamed El Sharay, also wrote to FIFA to list similar complaints to Family. We have been wondering for a long time, at least over a year, what exactly had happened to the case. We know there was an audit sent to CAF last year. PricewaterhouseCoopers went in there. They issued a damning report about the state of the organization's governance, its accounting, and they had many, many questions, and they certainly wanted to look into further investigation they said they wanted to do in the role of the tactical steel affair. There was a second audit this year that had been slowed and held up by coronavirus, but the auditors went back. They finished in July, and we've finally got to where we are today. And we believe that within the next month or so, that this verdict will formally fall. And as I understand it, the length of any ban has yet to be determined, and that is the next step. We should obviously say important legally that if Mr. Ahmad is found guilty, he has every chance to appeal at sport's highest legal court, the Court of Arbitration.
He's yet to comment on this, but it doesn't look good for him.
It does not look good for him if you've been found guilty by the investigatory chamber. Obviously, the next process is for the adjudicatory chamber to issue its sentence, and so the wide expectation is that Mr. Ahmad is given he has found he has breached the various codes of ethics, he will be found guilty. We should, of course, say that he's described any allegations of wrongdoing in the past as defamatory, false, and malicious. If we sort of look at the specifics, one of the charges we understand involves his role in the controversial kit deal involving tactical steel. They're a little-known French gym manufacturer run by an old friend of Ahmad's then attaché, Loïc Géron, who also comes from Madagascar, like the CAF president. And the reason the deal was controversial is that it provided sportswear equipment to CAF in 2017. And that was after an original deal with Puma, which was slightly smaller but cost 4 times less, had been cancelled. And that attracted a lot of attention, and it forms the focal point of this investigation by the FIFA Ethics Committee.
PS, finally, before I take leave of you, so if per the analysis and everything that is going on, and you look at the time frame from now till November in which the process will end for the CAF president, what do you foresee happening?
Well, I foresee a whole load of candidates coming out of the woodwork and people applying to take the job that we would never have dreamed to have done it before. Let's not forget that just 4 years ago, if you'd wanted to be the CAF president, you had to be serving on the executive committee. Now, that rule has since changed. It means that anybody across the continent with obviously the suitable amount of involvement in football administration and, of course, a clean record is eligible to go for the post. And so instead of looking at the obvious candidates, the biggest names that we might expect to come out of the executive committee of CAF, there are lots of other federation presidents who are being, as I understand it, their interest in the role is being explored. Their suitability for the role is being explored. How clean they are is being explored. Basically, can they get the post? Can they pass the eligibility test to sit on the FIFA Council? Any CAF president is automatically a FIFA vice president. And so there's a lot of scrambling around and there's a lot of politicking going on. I could not even begin to tell you whose name will be on the ballot when the registration period ends on the 12th of November. But I'd imagine there will be more than just the one candidate we had on Wednesday, Ahmad himself, the only one so far to have applied. We know that Tunisia's Tariq Bouchamawi is very interested in going for the post. Will he be able to get it, despite the fact that his FA president wants to go for a separate post in the executive committee, so stopping him at present? And then there are lots of other names in the frame. I won't go into details about them, given some of them have asked privacy as they make for their decisions. But next week, we should start to get some names coming forward.
And I'm sure it wouldn't come to your surprise should Amaju Pinnick put himself up.
I believe that he is weighing up his decision, and whether he goes for the post or not, I think we'll find out next week, absolutely.
PS, thanks so much for joining us here on the show. Really appreciate it. So that was the BBC Sports Africa, PS Edwards, speaking to us on the issues regarding Ahmad Ahmad, CAF president. Well, he tested for coronavirus yesterday. We wish him speedy recovery. Well, we have to move on and from CAF to the Black Stars. But before we do that, we'll go for our first commercial break. When we come back, we'll look at the Black Stars and other matters. Don't go away. Thanks so much for staying in the studio on Playmakers with me, Benedict Owusu. Show proudly brought to you by Vodafone, Samsung, Nestle Ghana, and Betway. You can still send in your messages to our WhatsApp line, which is 0592 896001. Also, the show is streaming live on Facebook, so you can post a comment on our Facebook wall as well as on Twitter. Well, so we've dealt with the issue of CAF President Ahmad Ahmad. Now, back home to the camp of the Black Stars. And CK Akono yesterday named a 23-man squad for next month's 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Sudan. Well, Chelsea left back Barbara Mann is back. John Boy of Met also is back in a team, as well as Mubarak Wakasu. And Harris Nafo, who plays his club football for Columbus Crew in the Major League Soccer, is also back. Jeffrey Schlupp with Crystal Palace, who was initially called for those two international friendlies but picked up an injury and couldn't join the team, is also back. Well, CK has also handed a debut call-up to German-born 19-year-old winger, that's Jamie Llewellyn. And as I already noted, we'll host Sudan here in Ghana. That will be on November 12, which will be on a Thursday, before traveling to Khartoum 5 days later to play all in the AFCON qualifier. Remember, we've already played 2 matches, so we have 6 points. We beat South Africa last year, November, at the same venue. We're going to play this game 2-0 and went away to beat Sao Tome and Principe by a goal to 0. So CK Akono's squad will be on your screen. We'll take you through before we'll dissect it, look at what you've been talking about in terms of who is in and who is not in. You know, it's normal that anytime a Black Stars manager releases a squad, you get people talking about this guy shouldn't have been in, this player is playing very well here and should have been in. So the squad on your screen now, and I'll take you through. So for the goalkeepers, we have Richard Ofori. Yes, Richard Ofori, who is with Orlando Pirates, recently moved there, played his first game this week, drew 1-1. And Razak Abeloa recently has joined Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Lawrence Atizigi, St. Gallen is in the team. And then Baba Aman with Chelsea, Gideon Mensah, Victoria Gumareshe of Portugal, Harris Nafo coming from Columbus Crew, then Benson Annan, who for me was a revelation in those two international friendlies we played against Mali and Qatar this month. Juku Alexander, another wonderful player with Strasbourg in the French league. John Boy is back in the team, as I made mention earlier, with FC Metz, and then Nicolas Opoku Amiens in the French League 2. Joseph Edu is with Celta de Vigo in the Spanish La Liga. For the midfielders, Thomas Partey of Arsenal, Baba Idrisu of Real Mallorca, and then Mubarak Wakasu of China. And we have Emmanuel Lomote, Amiens. Samuel Owusu, also in the team, recently made a move to Al Ahly in the Saudi Arabian League. For the forwards, Tarif Fosu, Brentford has been given another call-up by virtue of that wonderful performance he put up in those two international friendlies. Andre Ayew, the skipper with Swansea City. Jordan Ayew, his brother with Crystal Palace, having recovered from coronavirus, was in a team for his side, Crystal Palace, in their game against Wolverhampton Wanderers last night. Came on. Unfortunately, they lost that game by 2-0. Caleb Ikuban, Trabzonspor, also in the team with Jamie Laurelin, John Entry, Pyramids FC, and Jeffrey Schlupp of Crystal Palace. So among other things, Kusiki Akono justified why he called certain players. One was on Baba Aman. Let's take a listen to the coach.
So once a regular player here, due to injury, he was taken out. Now he's back, he's fit, he's playing very well with his team. Unfortunately, he's not had a chance to play in the first team, but he's had a couple of friendly matches since August, September, and even lastly, October, this recently, 24th October, which he played against Liverpool second team. And these matches, he's played 90 minutes, somewhere 90 minutes, a lot of 90 minutes, and of course 70 minutes. So we've taken a lot of consideration looking at the fact that we have a little bit of weakness within that area. The fullbacks, I thought it's necessary to bring him to, of course, compete with Gideon on that.
So that was Black Stars Kusiki Akono, with the explanation on Baba Aman there. Lots been happening here in the studio, but it's one of those things. Okay, so my guests are in the studio, Akosia, there Amu, and then the usual face, Elon Fiaka. Akosia, how are you?
I'm good, Benedict.
Great. So, of course, as every Ghanaian, as every sports pundit, when Black Stars, call-up is made, we have our views. But let's start with Baba Aman. I'm sure you are surprised as many that Baba Aman is in this team.
I'm not surprised that Baba Rahman is in this team because, there's a history with Baba Rahman, and most of the time Baba Rahman has experienced serious injuries. It's as a result of the national call-ups.
Exactly.
The last injury being 2019 in the AFCON. So it's more of a sentimental issue in the sense that now he's in Chelsea's reserve team. Things are not really going as he would want to. And I don't think there's any loan prospect. So getting a call-up for the national team and showing himself could probably make things better for him. So it's a very sentimental, I think among all the call-ups, Baba Rahman's own is for very sentimental issues. And I think CK should have said that rather than trying to make it look like, was he playing some 90 minutes, some 70 minutes, makes him fit, because that actually is not a good way to justify Baba Rahman's inclusion. We know what he's done for the Black Stars, and he's a very good left back. So we know that Baba Rahman is a solid guy. It's just that injuries have been his problem. But to say that he's playing for the reserve. Come on, there are other people who are actually playing top flight that weren't called up. So it's sentimental, and I'm not surprised at all.
So for you, it should have rather been the other way around of, let's say, Baba got injured while serving for us. So possibly maybe we are trying to pay him back, but than to say that he's playing
exactly
very well.
Because you know the choice.
But you couldn't have taken the fact that he's also playing well at the Chelsea team too, because they recently played against Liverpool. He played 90 minutes,
but
played some couple of games.
Is that justification enough? That's not, you know.
Okay.
So that's my take on that.
But aside Baba Ahmad, I mean the other players, Lumote as well. We also Lumote in a game against Mali. He's back in the team again.
You know, I always say this when it comes to coaches' selections. The thing is, the coach knows why he wants certain players and all that. Our thing is to just look back and keep quiet a bit, allow the coach to make his decision. When we watch the games and we see that this didn't go well, then we can come in with our knives. Yeah, that's when we're going to back. But I don't think Lomote really deserved another chance. I personally don't think so.
Elon, he's given opportunity to Tariq Fosu, who for me excelled in those two international friendlies, as well as Jiku and Benson Annan. Your impression about the squad?
I mean, I looked through the squad yesterday. It was, for me, a mixed bag because he's brought back the experienced guys and a lot of the new heads. Tariq Fosu was amazing. I think in that game against Mali, he was played out of position, came back to play on the right wing, got the opening goal, etc. So great prospects for a lot of these players in there. You spoke about Baba Rahman. Well, I don't want to go into that. We'll probably be here till tomorrow morning.
No, please go into it.
The German. Oh no, we'll get into it. The German chap. What's his name? Llewellyn. Yeah. I mean, I looked him up. He looks decent. 19 years old. Yeah. I don't know if we should be chucking him in as soon as we can.
The coach mentioned that he's come to learn from the experienced players. I mean, it's just that you cannot just bring these boys and put them straight in the game.
No, I mean, definitely no. But I mean, you look across. I mean, the likes of Majid Ashimiru, a lot of us are wondering why he wasn't in the team because he's playing. You know, we can go on and on and on. But then again, every coach knows his material. And until he proves or otherwise with what he's got at his disposal, I mean, you and I can only sit here and do a lot of conjectures. So let's wait. Sudan, when is that game against Sudan? I think on the 12th.
On Thursday, yeah.
On the 12th.
Thursday this week on the 12th.
In Cape Coast. And let's see how that match goes.
You're a Chelsea fan, so I expect you to say something about Baba Rahman before I come to.
Well, I think Baba Rahman has been very unlucky with injuries. I mean, we saw him go to Mallorca last season. 2 games into the season, he was back on the sidelines again. And for a lot of those injuries, they've been his anterior cruciate ligament. He's had an issue with that knee. Exactly. He seems to be back in training. I've seen him play for the under-23s, and he was pretty impressive. But then again, you cannot compare under-23 football to top-flight football. It's golfs apart. The physicality is a lot different. The opposition is weaker, etc. And for a lot of us, we believe that for an iconic national treasure like the Black Stars, we do not use it for certain sentiments because you want to get the best players in. If it were a couple of friendly matches, fair play. This is a qualifier to a major.
It's not a case of you already know Baba Rahman, you know what he can do. He's been playing consistently for this team until his injuries. So let's give him a chance. And at this point, not to cut you, but at this point, if you look at the Black Stars left back, we really have issues. It's only Gideon Mensah who is a true and true left back.
Yeah, but that's just looking across Europe. Is there no other player we can check at left back other than Baba Rahman?
Which player? Because I mean, you scan around and you look at our players playing at respective leagues. Aside Lumo Agbenyano, and Lumo is injured. Lumo is not fit. You understand? So if Lumo is not fit and it's only Jeffrey Schlupp nowadays doesn't play at left back, you wouldn't want to bring him to the Black Stars and put him at left back. And we also how things pan out between him and Kwesi. Anytime he came and he played at left back, it didn't go quite well. At Crystal Palace, he plays more of an offensive player. So we see the real Jeffrey Schlupp. So if you're CK Akono and going into that friendly, you only took one left back. Gideon Mensah wasn't that good in the first game, but he still played in the second game because there was no other option. You wouldn't bring Baba Rahman at this point when the guy is fit and is playing, irrespective of whether he's playing for Chelsea under 23 team.
Well, like I said, the physicality might be where the issue would be. The intensity of this game probably would be at a certain level.
Okay.
Is he ready for that? I mean, like I said, he's just come back from injury. For a lot of these things, we need to weigh the pros and the cons.
Yeah.
How it benefits him and how it doesn't. So let's see how it goes. It might put him in the spotlight, get him a deal out of Chelsea somewhat, and give him a chance to shine again. But for now, it's probably just a projection too. That's what it looks like.
Agusia, is it a case of CK Akono being a listening coach? That's why he brought the likes of John Boy, Harris Nafo, Mubarak Wakasu, because all these guys were missing in those 2 international friendlies. And when it went bad, a lot was said about why have you left all these top guys and why are you trying to build a new team? This is the Black Stars. There's no time to build a team.
Bringing back the OGs and the veterans. You see, I have always had my reservations with this whole we want to start a new team and want to rebuild. It's good to rebuild, but you have to find a balance with it. Merging the old with the new so that the old fades away, because it's become a norm that we're trying to retire players before their time. Look at even this Jan issue and how it was handled. You know, I think sometimes let people fade in a very decent and nice manner. And I remember the John Boy, when John Boy was given a call up and he was asking if John Boy is related to the journalist. You know, it was all funny and all that, but now you know you need John Boy back because our back is having problems.
I mean, especially when he's playing very well, admits.
Yes.
The guy is playing week in, week out.
He's one of the top stars.
He's a regular now, and you would think that why isn't John Boy getting? We know the history with John Boy and all that, but then when there's time for the young ones to learn from the old ones, we shouldn't push them to the back because you would definitely need experience. We look at Sudan like this. Matches with Sudan are always unpredictable and very tough. So you need that experience. And I think, I don't think saying he's a listening coach or something, but at least he's been a Black Star captain before. He knows the terrain and he knows that at this point in time, we really need experienced players to come and help the Black Stars to get the needed result. My problem is, what is his overall plan? You see, his vision for the Black Stars. Because I don't think as of now we can really judge his squad because of the way things are going. Because you're making justifications for Baba Rahman and other players and so, but what is the overall vision? You know, if we know the vision and even the criteria for calling people up, then we can really judge. But as of now, that hasn't been given. We don't know the vision. We don't know where he's heading with the Black Stars team. And I don't think it's a very good line to start with, because maybe today you're going to bring new players, tomorrow you're bringing the old one, but how are we growing as a Black Star team? That is my problem.
So you see how Akusia is passionate about the Black Stars. It's the same way every Ghanaian is very, very passionate when it comes to the Black Stars, and these discussions where we'll go on. So let's hear from you on our WhatsApp line, which is 0592 896-001. And the issue of John Boy, I think it's about time we move on. We move on from what happened in Brazil 2014. John Boy now is playing very, very well, so I'll be surprised to hear anybody, condemn why John Boy is in this team. He's classified as one of the best 4 defenders in the French League One. We are back to do more on local issues, and then we'll move straight to the English Premier League after this break. Don't go away. Well, a lot of your messages have come through. Keep them coming. I will dedicate time and read all your messages for you. Shout outs to Gabi Akon, my director this morning, doing some great job out there. Well, so we have to move on. Still here on the local scene. This week we had the issue of Asamoah likely to join Legon Cities ahead of the start of the new Ghana Premier League season. And some, monies were quoted. They said how much? $1 million for a period of 4 years. So what it means is that every year he's going to get $250,000. And if that deal should materialize, is it a good move for Legon Cities to bring Asamoah at this point?
It doesn't look feasible economically. Looking at the structure of the Ghana Premier League and the clubs, Legon Cities have tried a lot to get people into the stadium. We've seen them bring artists, etc. It didn't work to a treat. We still had the same...
it wasn't bad.
No, I went to a lot of their games, and it was okay. I mean, probably half a stand full, and a few people scattered across. So they have tried their best. Their branding has been absolutely phenomenal, and all of that. You can see that they are coming into the Premier League as a force to be reckoned with. They signed Fatah Dauda to give them a bit of clout, etc. So looking at a move like this, in terms of hyping the team and projecting the league, perfect. Economically, how much money are they making every week? How much are they paying the other players? Who's funding it? Where's the revenue going to come from? What economic benefits is signing Asamoah Gyan going to bring to them? Because football-wise, I don't think it's going to be a phenomenal signing. I think it will be more of an economic signing. But then feasibly, it doesn't make any sense for Legon Cities to invest $1 million in one player.
If truly it's going to happen, Asamoah Gyan is we getting to 34. So 4 years, by the time the contract will be over, he will be 38 years.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense.
Well, it makes sense in terms of clout, as Elob was saying, because people would like to watch Gyan, and we all know that Ghanaians have a love-hate relationship with Asamoah Gyan, and yes, so the whole giving the Premier League, the Ghana Premier League, the flair and the hype, it seems like a good thing. But as Elom rightly said, the economical aspect of it, $1 million is a lot of money to part away. What sort of sponsorship? As of now, we don't even really know if there's sponsorship for the Ghana Premier League. So how is Legon City going to break even on that? And in terms of returnees, you know, Olympics was really good at that, bringing a lot of old players like Godwin Atram and all that. We saw that it sort of helps the young ones to sort of learn from them and have a taste of what an experienced player comes into it. So you are definitely not going to get 15 goals from Asamoah Gyan, probably maybe 6 or 7 or 5. And Legon Cities, as at last the truncated season, we realized that it was a lot of hype, but on the pitch, it wasn't that great, you know. It wasn't that great. So bringing Asamoah Gyan is not going to be, it's not going to bring so much improvement as they would want. Maybe even in attack, they weren't getting that much goals, but then Asamoah Gyan is not going to make it a lethal attack whatsoever. So if it's for him, so because I know with Olympics and Godwin Atram wasn't really taking that much money. It was more of like his passion for Olympics. But with Asamoah Gyan taking $1 million, as we're seeing, I don't think it's worth
okay,
it.
so those are the thoughts of Akusia, but it has not yet materialized. There were, you know, talks that that move could happen. But remember, today is transfer deadline day here in Ghana, so we see if that plus other many moves will come to pass. You know, Kumasi Asante Kotoko have signed quite a number of players. With even some Brazilians in there. Accra Hearts of Oak have done same. They've signed some players as well as all the other clubs. The Premier League, as you know, kicks off on November 13, so we'll be doing more in terms of our build-up to the Ghana Premier League. But some of your messages have come through. Let me just quickly do that for you. This one says, Anna Naura again. Yanum will lose again to Wesker. Which people are the Yanum? And this... Good morning. And you know, there's one thing about this show. As soon as you start reading the messages, it keeps coming like that. Okay, this one says, good morning, guys. I think the call-up of Baba Rahman is a good decision. Remember, he sustained injury whilst playing for Ghana in that AFCON in 2017. Ghana as a country owe it to him to help him again to gain his form and confidence back, especially with what he's going through with his club football. I think CK has been matured with his decision. This is Dura. Dura, thanks so much for that message. This one says, good morning. I'm Kwabena from Dansoman. With the Black Star squad, Baba Rahman and Emmanuel Lomote doesn't deserve to be called up. Justice Blay is even better than Lomote. A player like Majid Ashimao plays every match in the Austrian league and plays in the UEFA Champions League currently, but CK decided not to call him, which I don't understand. I think someone at the FA is pushing CK and David Duncan to choose the players the FA wants. Well, that's we don't know, so you are saying it, and I would read it for you. All right, okay, so this one says, hi, MX24. Manchester United will beat Arsenal 2-0 this weekend from Melvin. Melvin, thanks so much for that message. A lot more here. We'll do that, but we have to quickly go through what happened in the UEFA Champions League this week in terms of the results. So Lokomotiv Moscow were home to Bayern Munich, defending champions. They went away as expected. They won by 2-1. Borussia Mönchengladbach in a game against Real Madrid. What a game that was. Ended 2-2. And Olympique Marseille lost to Manchester City by 3-0, with Liverpool at home to Midtjylland, despite all their problems with injuries. Managed to win that game by 2-0. FC Krasnodar lost to Chelsea Yes, the Blues, they won by 4 goals. Now, Juventus, Barcelona, Barca won 2-0 away. Manchester United, the team currently on form, beat Leipzig by 5 goals to 0 with Marcus Rashford scoring a hat-trick in that game. And it's a good time to talk about the English Premier League with Manchester United. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gradually is doing something amazing. And, you know, the fans always will talk. And it looks like, and last week I made this point, that when is getting to a point where they are calling for his head, and then
he saves himself.
Absolutely.
He wins 2-3 big matches.
And that's what he's doing.
Definitely.
That was an impressive performance they put up against Leipzig.
Yeah, I mean, all they did was they played with their strengths, which was blocking of that midfield. And we've seen Rashford.
Yeah.
And we've seen the fact that when you have Rashford in your team and you play him behind the defense, you can use him like Leicester used Vardy. Exactly what they did against Leipzig. All the 2 goals that he scored, you could see that it was his pace they depended on. Aside that as well, across that midfield, Fred, I don't know if it's the same Fred we saw last season, but Fred looks a completely different player.
Absolutely.
Battling in midfield, completely making sure that he marshals that midfield. Another impressive player, Scott McTominay, a lot of people don't talk about, but he's come in and he's been absolutely phenomenal as well. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer seems to be getting his act right. He seems to be pushing this Manchester team to where Manchester United is supposed to be. But then again, the consistency is what we look out for. Is he going to keep being consistent? Is he going to get a slump where he loses to Burnley, Everton, and probably, you know, one of the smaller teams, with all due respect? And all of that depends on the fixture list. And aside depending on the fixture list as well, it gives him a chance to completely overhaul everything he does. So, I mean, let's see how it goes.
And how do you think that will translate into the game against Arsenal this weekend?
They're on a roll. They've got a lot of momentum. You fully expect them to go out there and win this game.
Agusia, Elon talked about the fact that McTominay has been great and has been playing some wonderful football. They brought in Van de Beek, and this week we've heard a lot of talk. Van Basten, you know, talked about the fact that he thought it wasn't the right time for Van de Beek to move to Manchester United because he's not made any start in the English Premier League since he moved in. He's always been coming off the bench. But his typical role and place is where Fernandes is operating. How do you, if you are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, how do you, manage your rotation of squad when you have Van de Beek, who, I mean, at Ajax was phenomenal. Now he's in your team and he hardly even gets a look in.
You see, I think sometimes we give the United fans and...
You're a United fan?
No.
Oh,
no.
Arsenal?
No, I'm Chelsea.
Hey, sir.
She supports a good team.
I think sometimes the pressure on Ole it gets overwhelming with what because most of the time people are not really privy to what happens in training, and that is one thing that we always have to bear in mind. He is seeing the players and he is seeing. So when it comes to the whole rotation and all that, as it stands now, it's been like over 5 games or 6 games unbeaten for United, which is actually a good thing, considering the fact that just about 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, people were just calling for his head as usual. So with that whole rotation, I think it depends on, it's a game-to-game basis, training-to-training basis. He sees what's happening and he feels that this particular player should take this role, then it's good to go. Because in the game, in the Chelsea game like this, you could tell that it was just a cutting edge. Like the United should have gotten a win. Chelsea was very lucky in terms of settling with the draw. And I thought that at a point in time, United were playing safe. It was in the dying minutes of the game that you realized that they were coming with that Rashford goal, which with that kick, that we thought was almost a goal, but then the Senegalese chap ended up blocking away. Mendy. So in all, I think that this is a team that is trying, because 5 goals in Europe is actually not a bad thing. It's sort of a morale booster. Arsenal on the other side, we don't know which Arsenal is going to show up. The Arsenal fans are frustrated, and party after having a good game, then. And
we didn't see much of him
in the game against Leicester, and it's a bit worrying with all the politics going on with Ozil and all those things. So I think even when you look at the United Arsenal game, if anything, United have sort of the edge in this game, and they'll be playing in Old Trafford too. They are yet to win a game in Old Trafford this season in the Premier League. So it's, I think, probably
it will be a United stay. Okay, well, so that's Akusia's view there. What do you also think in going into that game this weekend, Manchester United up against Arsenal? The other games to look forward to, remember, one game was played yesterday. Jordan Ayew, Crystal Palace. Jordan, Jeffrey Schlupp, yes, 2 Ghanaians, so let me put it right. Jordan Ayew, Jeffrey Schlupp's Crystal Palace yesterday lost to Wolverhampton Wanderers by 2-0 at the Molineux Stadium. So highlights of the match will be on your screen pretty shortly, so you get to see the goals that were scored by Wolverhampton Wanderers. So there you go. Okay, so that was the very first goal by Wolverhampton Wanderers. Jordan came on later to play in the game. He came on for Andy Townsend, who for me wasn't really pulling his weight that much in the game. So that's the highlight there for you. 2 goals. Wolverhampton Wanderers beat Crystal Palace. But today, we've got some great games coming up. Sheffield United up against Manchester City. Burnley, Chelsea, they go away to play against a very formidable Burnley side. And then we'll have Liverpool, West Ham United. What a game that will be at Anfield. Liverpool missing Van Dijk. Fabinho is also...
No defenders.
Fabinho, you will come there. Fabinho also not available, picked up an injury in that game against Midtjylland in the UEFA Champions League. They're up against West Ham United that also are going to miss Antonio. And Newcastle United, Everton also will have Manchester United, Arsenal, and then Tottenham Hotspur will come up against Brighton. All right, so it's good I have 2 Chelsea fans in the studio, so definitely we have to talk about Chelsea. Against Burnley, it's a very tough game at the Turf Moor.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we saw Burnley against Spurs last week. They completely frustrated them. They came out with a slim win. But Sean Dyche would want to set his team up to defend against a Chelsea team. Because looking across this Chelsea team, there's a pool of attacking talent. The likes of Kai Havertz, Timo Werner. I mean, we even saw Abraham in midweek doing some absolutely fantastic work. Mason Mount, who people will say would start anyway because he's Lampard's son. He's disproved that in the last couple of games. So Burnley ideally will set up a team that will want to defend against this Chelsea team. So Chelsea would have to find that creative spark. I mean, luckily there are quite a few creative players within the ranks of this Chelsea team. So they should find that creative spark against a low block Burnley. That will probably put 9 men behind the ball. I mean, there's a game that Chelsea starts on paper as favourites. A very, very difficult game. A lot of people definitely would predict a very slim win for Chelsea.
All right, a slim win for Chelsea. At the back of that wonderful win in the UEFA Champions League, we see if the Blues will be able to translate that to the English Premier League this weekend. We have to go for our last commercial break. But before we do that, let me quickly read some of your messages. A lot coming in. This one says, hello, Benedict. The caller of Baba Rahman fuels the perception of the agency quota at the Football Association. Our national team is for players who are fit and not fringe players. This one is from Bismarck inside Accra, Newtown. He says, whenever you expect Manchester United to win in their good form, that's where they lose. I think Arsenal is going to beat them at Old Trafford, but whenever you expect United to lose because of poor run, that's when they will surprise you. Okay, please next time do sign and let me know where you are sending that message from. This one is from Alfred Wonyome. He says he's watching the show and good morning to us here in the studio. Now, good morning, guys. If GFA can open games venue free for the first 2 matches, staff money from who? Okay, so that's your suggestion that the Football Association should open free gates for people to come and watch the Ghana Premier League. Okay, we'll see how that will go. Chelsea will win by 3-0 no name, but thank you very much for sending that message. Hi, good morning. My name is Tahiru Abdul Wahiru. Hey, somebody is calling. Can you imagine? Send messages that you are calling. Hey, boys need to hear. I think is not cutting on. Okay, we'll go for our last commercial break. When we come back, please don't call. I'm reading messages. Stay tuned. This is Playmakers on MX24. All right, thanks so much for staying. It's still here on MX24. It's Playmakers with me, Benedict Owusu. I'm in the studio with Elon Fiaka and then Akusia there. But there's a message here. Let me still see if I can read some of your messages. Please, I beg you, don't call. Why? I beg you, don't call. Just send in your messages. It's not nice that you kind messages now you are calling. What's that? All right, Charlie. So if Arsenal win Man U today, I will walk from Ho to Accra. Start money from Ho. Hey, Charlie, you walk from.
We'll tell our correspondents.
Charlie, we'll come and look for you. Yo, there. Now Manchester United will win the match against Arsenal. Godfrey from Cape Coast sends in this one and says Barcelona will win .1 in the UEFA Champions League from Jehu inside Kumasi. A lot of the messages coming through. Let me see if I can do this one. So okay, all right, but. Okay. Hey, Charlie. Okay, so this one says Super Mendy. He's a Chelsea fan. Barcelona will win their game this weekend. A lot of matches to look for it. But guys, briefly, let's take a look at the Liverpool team. I mean, Van Dijk had a successful surgery in the course of the week. Fabinho, who stepped in for Van Dijk now, is out with injury. So as it stands now, they only have Gomez as the true centre back. If you're Jurgen Klopp, what will be going through your mind at this point?
Tough times. I think Fabinho is I think it's a hamstring, so probably 4 weeks. But then again, you've got Gomez, you've got Joao Matip. And
Matip is not back. He's training, but he says, according to Jurgen Klopp, he's not that very fit to start.
I mean, so it's very tough. I mean, the only other player in the mold who you can think about playing in that centre-back position is Naby Keita.
Yeah. I think even Jordan Henderson can play because in their FIFA Club World Cup final, Henderson played as a centre-back.
I mean, so he can look at these options because in midfield he's got Thiago Alcantara, he's got Gigi Wijnaldum, so he shouldn't be too worried about that midfield. But then again, it's still a very gaping hole in that Liverpool defense. I mean, you've lost arguably the best defender in the league. Fabinho came in, was doing a considerably good job. You lost him as well. Joe Gomez, your only senior centre-back. It's a very, very tough pill to take. Liverpool are down to bare bones. I'm sure today West Ham will be licking their lips and be wondering how best they can exploit that gaping hole. But I mean, Jurgen Klopp is a manager of high repute with a lot of experience. So I'm sure in training he's put his boys up to the task and he's got able replacements for that centre-back role.
Okay, so despite the injury woes to Liverpool, do you think they are still favourites to defend the English Premier League title?
Well, it's going to be difficult. They are not going to have the season that they had last season. And I think that's something maybe Jurgen Klopp would have told them that, you know, we have to calm it down. And at this point in time, putting too much expectations on the team could prove a disaster in the long run. So let's just take it easy, one step at a time. As it stands here, the top three, even with all the injury issues and all that. So I think at this point in time, it's one game after the other, instead of trying to put themselves as favourites, knowing very well that they are having a huge problem in defence.
Obviously, thank you very much. So, Tottenham Hotspur, Brighton, unfortunately, we don't have time to talk about Jose Mourinho. This week, he was livid after that defeat to Royal Antwerp in the UEFA Europa League. And he said in the first half, he had the chance. He would have changed the whole team. So, the Europa League matches on your screen there for you. Just go through and see what you can do for yourself. I'm talking about the investors. But briefly, if we can look at the other matches in the other leagues, just 30 seconds. Okay, so in the Italian Serie A, Inter Milan Parma is happening this weekend. Udinese, AC Milan. AC Milan seem to be on some amazing form with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, as old as he is, still scoring and carrying the lead, the pack of goal scorers there. Spezia, Juventus, AS Roma, Fiorentina, and then Napoli Sassuolo happening in the German Bundesliga. Schalke 04, Stuttgart, and then FC Cologne, Bayern Munich. We also have Arminia Bielefeld. They will come up against Borussia Dortmund. With Mönchengladbach having drawn 2-2 with Real Madrid in midweek in the UEFA Champions League at home to Leipzig, and Freiburg by Leverkusen. So, and the Spanish La Liga, of course, also happening this weekend. Can Barca make it? Well, we'll wait to see what happens. Cadiz will take on Eibar, Real Madrid, Huesca, Yanum, that's how they call them these days, and Athletic Bilbao, Sevilla, Osasuna, Atletico Madrid, Deportivo Alaves, Barcelona, and then Celta de Vigo will come up against Real Sociedad. Thanks so much for watching. Before I take leave of you, today is a birthday of one of our camera guys, great guy Ampadu. So wherever you are, Ampadu, a happy birthday to you from myself, all the guys in here, Ziggy, your man, Joe, my producer, Gabi, the director, the sound man, everybody here at MX24, happy birthday. May God continue to bless you. More money by this time next year. You buy the car that you want to buy. I'm Benedict Owusu, always a pleasure serving you. We are back same time next week. Do remember to join our team tomorrow of the CAF. Sami Battles will be here to discuss the Black Stars issues and other issues. Until then, stay safe.